I've received a few questions asking about target transitions, kind of how I diagnose my own shooting or people I see in classes or kind of what we do on training groups. I'm just going to kind of make a quick video to hopefully kind of show you some things I look for and hopefully some takeaways to diagnose your own videos. I'm going to do these first person. These are just two stages I picked of my own shooting. The first one's from a couple years ago, and there's one from this previous year, from 2021, or current year, I guess, sorry. So anyway, I'm just going to play this one in real time and then wind it back and talk about it a bit. Okay, the video, I suppose it looked okay, 1 for 1 on steel, I didn't have any misses. That stuff's all cool, but let me break down a few areas that could have been better and kind of what I look for. Suppose it's worth briefly first talking about, obviously, what a target transition is. If you have, forgive my poor diagram skills here. You have two targets, target 1, target 2, whatever. If you're going to shoot a target, you're going to bring your eyes right there. Your sights or dot shows up there. You shoot the target. Obviously, then when you want to shoot target 2, your eyes should go over first. Then your sighting system follows. The best case would be having your sights go directly to the center of the target, then you shoot. If there's an issue with marksmanship, maybe from looking at the wrong spot, or you're following the sight, sometimes you'll maybe go down here and be like, oh crap, I meant to shoot up there. Then you look up at the spot, the sights get adjusted, and then when it gets to where you want, you shoot. Another thing that could possibly happen is someone shoots the first target and they want to really go quickly, so they really slam the gun hard over to target 2. It goes past the, oh crap, and they bring it back, and then when they get it back to where they want to, they fire. So the thing I'm just going to look at, kind of talk about, is just transitioning the gun precisely, and then obviously you want to shoot when you have the correct level of confirmation, meaning what you need to see with your aiming schemes, whether it's just your dots, kind of a streak, it's still moving, you just react to the color of your fiber, your front sight through the rear notch, or if you need to see a crisp, clear sight picture, the dots completely stopped and stable, or your front sight aligned perfectly on the rear notch. Okay, so anyway, a few key areas to look at, especially is when difficulty changes. So when it's relatively easy target, that's fine and dandy. But when it goes from relatively easy target to really difficult target, or difficult target to difficult target, whatever easy and difficult is depends on your skill level, but there's oftentimes going to be a change. So kind of just picking this target apart, kind of ignore the target and just keep the majority of the attention on the front sight, if you would, because that'll kind of tell you the tale of what's going on. Notice it goes like to a spot, it stops, fires twice. Notice it moves directly to the next target, and you can see it's firing basically immediately as soon as it stops. So that looks cool. Moving to the next target. It doesn't look that bad in real time, but notice all the refinement. It's quite obvious that either I didn't pick a spot, the target I'm shooting at is right there. It's either quite apparent that I did not pick either a precise spot on the target, or I was staring at the front sight. But again, ignore the target, knowing there's going to be a target right there. Just watch the front sight, if nothing else, and watch how it kind of moves, gets refined. If you kind of watch in relation to that post, see where I stop, then it went down, and then I fire. So it's obvious it did not go to the correct spot before firing. Load the gun. Here's 4 tuxedo targets side by side. So definitely something most people would perceive as, maybe me included, higher difficulty. Watching how the gun tracks. Look at that. As soon as it went over to the next target, you can kind of tell at least when it's in line. But notice shooting here, as soon as the gun gets over here, it's like boom, it immediately fires as soon as it gets to the center of the target. That looks cool. Now let's watch the next target. Obviously I'm moving, but notice how, watch carefully, the gun goes over, it's like, oh crap, hard cover, and then I bring it back to the target. And then once I refine it, then I send it. Those two bullets are going in the same hole, by the way. Or touching anyway. The next target, same deal. Like all good there. So just a couple little bobbles. Bring back here this corner. That's good. So notice again, the gun comes up, it stops, fires, stops, fires. Then what happens over here? Difficulty change. So relatively less difficult targets and harder to hit targets, I suppose, with those steel poppers. Watch the path of the gun. Notice from the steel popper to the steel popper, it looks like, I'm exaggerating, but it looks like the gun's traveling into you, which you wouldn't think that would happen, right? You just see like, oh, you shoot that target, your eyes go there. The gun should make a path straight across. But if I'm following the front sight, it's going to be tougher because my vision's going to be here, and then I'm going to shift my vision back and forth between 2 points. Like, well, yep, look at the target, the sight shows up, yep, at the target, and then while the gun's recoiling, I'm probably watching the front sight, and then I've got to go find the target, and then bring the sight over there. So again, you see kind of that U in the target transition. Moving to the last target, a wider, and I mean that maybe that could be better, but that target's all the way back there, so probably not the most precise target transition, but I'm also probably refining the sights and using a higher level of confirmation. And aiming on each shot. So anyway, hopefully that kind of explains the things I'm looking for that I don't necessarily love. Here's a second stage. I'm just going to play this one in real time and then kind of briefly talk about it.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Okay, so that second reload I think wasn't maybe the best one of my entire life, but get the idea. So let's just, again, with what we know, we'll kind of just ignore everything else and just watch the path the muzzle of the gun takes. We're watching the front sight, honestly, in relation to the targets. Notice how the front sight basically stops, fires. Then at that point, my eyes are going to go to the next target. Shooting this target focused. And then notice when the gun gets there, it basically stops precisely and it fires immediately. Just like a laser. It goes to the next spot I want. You'll see a little bit of movement, obviously, because I was kind of walking in on these. Same deal with the steel. Notice how the gun goes down. And yeah, there's a little bit of bobbling because I'm walking, but that's 1 for 1 on the steel. The gun goes over, and the same deal on this. After I fired on a more difficult target, requiring more confirmation or confirming my sights more, it's important to stay target focused. Look at the spot you want to hit. Then notice my eyes go there, obviously, and you see the gun track to a precise spot, and then you see it fire as soon as it gets to the center of the target. Staying on the popper a bit to confirm, just to make sure it's going down. Then again, you see the gun roughly, move to the center of the target, fire. Very close target. 2 A's appear there. And then again, just ignoring the target, all your vision, just watch the front sight, ignore the rest, and kind of just watch the path it tracks. So anyway, more of what we're looking for, where it's just eyes go there, sights show up, eyes go there, sights show up, eyes go there, sights show up, and so on. So diagnosing your own videos, especially in changing difficulty of targets from a really open, easier target to a smaller, higher difficulty shot, whatever that means for you, watching for things like the gun going past, I'm exaggerating, the gun going past the target and coming back, or watching when you see transitioning the gun over and it's not quite at the perfect spot, and then you see an adjustment before you fire. Those are kind of things to work on to correct with your vision. So again, if I could impress nothing else from watching this, it's that where you hit where you look, for better or worse. So really looking at the very center of the target, bringing the gun to, bring the sights to the spot you're looking is good. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful.